Hey there, friend. Today I'll be sharing with you a practical and powerful writing exercise that will help you begin or continue the healing process after a season of suppressing your voice or feeling disconnected and distant from your voice, so you can express yourself with freedom and rediscover the joy in singing. So my prayer for this episode is that it will help you begin to unravel the stories you've been telling yourself about your voice and singing and yourself as an artist, so you can rebuild on a foundation of truth.
Welcome to Reawaken Your Voice. I'm Lainey Crawford, holistic voice coach, singer, song weaver. I believe the song in your heart holds medicine for yourself and for the world. And yet too often, something happens along the way. We shut down our voice and our song goes unsung. Whether you stopped singing years ago or have always harbored an unrealized dream to start, if you're ready to finally give voice to those unsung songs in your heart, then take my hand as I guide you to free yourself from the inner critic, reignite your creativity, find your courage, sing with confidence, and reawaken those dormant parts of yourself aching for a revival. So dust off your songbooks, tune up your guitar, bust out your singing bowls, your shakers, your drum. Actually, all you really need is your voice, your breath, open ears, and an open heart. Let's play.
When did you stop singing? What was it that caused you to shut down your voice? And when did you notice that desire return? When did you realize it wasn't going anywhere and all you could do was surrender to it? Often when we try to push it down, it will eventually come back again with a vengeance. So this episode goes out to the wounded singer, the woman who shut down her voice somewhere along the way and stopped singing. The woman who denied herself the permission to follow her passion and sing. The woman who once sang freely with joy and ease, but then life happened. She may have pushed it down successfully for a while, but it always comes back and rears its head again. And she knows by now that it's not going anywhere, this desire to sing. So she wants to give herself another chance, or finally give herself a first chance. But that inner critic is so loud that she stops herself before she starts. You know, over time, or through difficult seasons of life, your voice can become buried in these layers of doubt and fear. Maybe you're haunted by past singing experiences that were less than ideal, or, insecurities were layered on throughout the years, and all this gunk is weighing you down and you can't seem to find your voice amidst it all. So how do we clear away the ruins, the wreckage, the remains of whatever happened or whatever once was, to begin again? How do you exchange ashes for beauty? I think of a vague memory I have, and I'm not sure if it's a story I once heard, or it was a real video or an image I once saw. Maybe I made it up in my head. But it seems so clear. I think it was a real video. But in this vision, I see a home destroyed by a tornado. And everything is in shambles, and there's just piles of rubble. Except the piano. The piano survived. And so did the person. And there they sit at the piano, singing and playing amidst the ruins. Ah, so beautiful. It's a story of resilience. It's a story of the human spirit, the resilience of the voice, and the power of music. When the dust all settles, music remains. It's still there. But how to begin again? How to uncover or unearth your voice, not as it was, but as it is now. Because as we move through life, the things that happen along the way, they change us. And yet the part that remains intact, the part of us that is everlasting, is still there. Telling my singing story has evolved as I've gained new perspective and as I've grown. The bitterness that once was there has changed to gratitude for the experience. And there's this gentleness and grace that can enter into the story you've been telling yourself to shift your mindset and shift your heart posture towards your voice and singing. And this is what I hope you can discover through this episode and through this writing exercise I'm going to share with you. And there's a prelude to this healing exercise that may be helpful for you, to do a little pre-work, a little free flow writing to unclog and defog, to just kind of stir up and sort through the blockages that are keeping you from fully expressing yourself and sharing your voice and opening up your voice to its true sound. So this precursor is just to do some free flow writing to identify the reasons for shutting down your voice. So you can ask yourself, when did I stop singing? For me, there were a couple things that caused me to go into this season of silence. But it started with a bit of an identity crisis. Perhaps you can relate in some way or another. But when I stepped away from opera, I felt like, if I'm no longer an opera singer, who am I? I worked my whole life towards that. And then I felt the call to step away. But to where? Once you work so hard for a dream and achieve it, and either it's not what you thought, Or, okay, you did it, but you reached this point of now what? Like, I can't top that. And then your identity is all wrapped up in these labels and, who you had decided you were in that role. So that was part of it for me. And then the other part was grief. Losing my dad was like a punch to the gut that led me into this season of silence and hiding and being like a hermit in a cave, keeping my voice to myself, shutting down that light inside and succumbing to the darkness I felt. But it was also a season of solitude that I needed. I needed to be alone with my grief and process the pain I was experiencing. And that's actually what led to healing songs that were like medicine for my soul. So you see how that perspective can shift as you look back and see, yes, that season was not wasted. It was not in vain. So first identify, when did you stop singing? What were the reasons? And then identify the beliefs you have around your voice and singing. So you can ask yourself, what do I believe to be true about my voice? So for me, if I wasn't singing opera, I believed it meant I wasn't living up to my fullest potential, and I was no longer great. I was no longer interesting or worth listening to. I decided to believe the lie that I was a disappointment and I was a quitter and I was another case of wasted talent and I was a has-been. I reached my peak and there was nowhere to go but down. Because I was out of practice and rusty, I would beat myself up for not sounding the way I once did at the height of my training and the intensity of it. So I was really hard on myself when I did practice. And singing wasn't fun anymore. I let that inner critic take over and just tear apart everything that was beautiful. Even the rough parts that perhaps held the most beauty in their humanness. But these are just some examples from my story of the lies I was telling myself. But take a moment to reflect on your own story. Perhaps for you it was a bit further back in childhood or early adulthood, or maybe it was more recent. Maybe something happened that changed you, or maybe you lost your way and you're trying to get back to you, to come back home to yourself again. So all of this to say, do some free flow writing to kind of sort through the blockages of, when did you stop singing and what do you believe to be true about your voice? It's kind of like brick by brick, you're sorting through the wreckage to clear a path and make way for the new. Rebuild. So what was it for you? Was it something someone said? Or something you said to yourself? Was it a painful or traumatic singing experience? Maybe a performance, just everything went wrong and that was it. You were done. Was it rejection? over and over again being told, oh, you're not good enough. Maybe there was an unsupportive relationship, or sadly, maybe there was a discouraging teacher. Something along the way derailed you from your path, or life got in the way. Maybe there was a change of priorities, a change of your circumstances. Maybe you had some strict and rigid vocal training that took the fun out of it. Maybe like me, you suffered a loss. Often it's a layering of these things over time that all adds up to suppressing your voice, and it leads to this story you tell yourself about singing and about your voice. So once you've stirred up these memories a bit, which can be difficult, I know, so give yourself some grace. But once you've gathered a picture of when you stopped singing, why you shut down your voice, what it was that may have damaged your relationship with your voice and with singing and with your creative expression as a whole, now you're ready to begin with the exercise. So in this exercise, you're going to be writing in the third person. This helps you detach from your story, detach from your experiences, and see it from a distance. Separate yourself from it and look at it from outside of yourself, which can give you a totally different perspective and help you to give that woman a little grace, or give that little girl inside of you the love and support and understanding that she needs. So I'm going to give you a series of journal prompts for you to kind of fill in the blank as we go. So just follow along with me. You can write the prompt and then go back and fill it in later or you can pause me with each one, however you want to do it. So let us begin. There once was a girl who she loved the way it felt when all she ever wanted was. But then something happened. Something happened that as time went on, she believed that it wasn't until that she remembered. And now she will always So take a moment with each of those prompts. You can write this, write it out, let it flow, pen to paper. Or you can also record yourself free flowing with your voice, like speaking the story out loud. This is so powerful. because you're expressing it through your physical voice, your physical instrument, and you're just letting it come out. So try the best you can not to like edit yourself along the way. Try to just let whatever comes come. You can also do both. You can write out the story and speak it. Tell it with your voice. See what comes out and see how each of those differ, or use one to go deeper after the other one. Another step you can take to enhance the potency of this exercise is to share it. Share it with a trusted friend, or even with a wider audience. But there is so much power in being seen and heard and witnessed and telling your story. And if you want to work through anything that came up, I'm here for you too. You can book a session with me, reawakenyourvoice.com/coaching. But tell your story from this foundation of truth, with this gentleness and this grace that can come through when you detach yourself from it and look at it with a bit of distance. And look at the contrast between the story that you've been telling yourself, as in the lies you've been telling yourself about what it means about you, what your vocal journey thus far means about you, or, the obstacles you've faced, what it all means about you and your voice and singing and yourself as an artist. And then look at it with a bit more perspective and gentleness. And so you can kind of rewrite that singing story with an open, gentle heart. I pray that this exercise can stir something up in you that gives you a new beginning and can help you reclaim your voice from whatever it was that made it feel like it was shattered or it was lost. Your voice is not lost. Your voice is resilient. It is strong. And it is your companion through all these seasons of life. And it's still there amidst the rubble, the wreckage, standing strong, waiting for you to take a seat at that piano bench, or whatever that looks like for you, that metaphorical piano bench. Take that nice deep breath and begin again. I'm sending you so much love and grace.
Hey friend, thank you so much for listening. If this episode unlocked something in you or moved you in some way, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're streaming this, and share this episode with a friend who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough. Until we meet again, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.